Hey guys, welcome back. In this tutorial, we will learn the conditional statements in PHP. There are times when we need to execute the code depending on a particular condition. For that, we use conditional statements in programming languages. The most basic conditional statements are if, else, ElseIf. These are the very basic and easy to use conditional statements. We'll see how we use conditional statements in PHP in a very basic manner, and in our later tutorials we'll use them in developing a modern approach and create modules. So and if else and conditional statements are very useful in validating the things which we will see in our later tutorials. So let's start our code. Let's delete the things. um, let's start our code. Let's first save our file. The name if else.php. Sorry, it's if else.php. The file name can be anything. It's just for the better understanding and separation from other files. So let's start our code in our basic delimiter of PHP. Let's declare the variable a with value 10. Let's declare another variable b with value 20. So let's now write the code to compare these two variables and echo the statement accordingly. So let's compare these two variables using if else statement, which are the conditional statements. So let's see which of the variables holds the larger value. This we can do by if condition. So let's perform the code. If $a is more, this is a operator which specifies more, greater than. This is a greater than operator. If $a is greater than $b, then we have to echo $a, variable a is greater. Okay, else doesn't have any else doesn't have any condition to be specified. It is a default block that will execute if the condition doesn't meet here. So I must tell you the syntax and what it takes. If takes a condition and the block if block executes only if the condition returns true or 1. Only if the condition satisfies, then only the block of if will execute, and if the condition doesn't satisfy and returns 0 or false, then definitely the else block will be executed, and there is no compulsion that else block be added along with the if block, and there is no such compulsion. It's just a matter of requirement that we use else block. So let's start our code again. Variable b is greater, because it's obvious that if there are two variables, if variable a is not greater, then obviously variable b will be greater. So that's why we put that in the else part of the code. So let's test the thing on the browser. Open the browser. Let's go to localhost, teach folder, which is our core folder. We are working upon the current directory named teach, and now if else.php. So here we can see that variable b is greater. The output is absolutely correct because b has 20, the greater value, than $a, which has 10. So now let's just interchange the digits, or we can just increment the $a value and make it 30. So now let's see if the change comes. Yes, you can see the change has come. Variable a is greater. So let me explain you what happens exactly. When it was actually 10, then the condition was checked if $A is greater than $B. In the previous condition, it's $A is 10. $A is 10 and $B is 20. So it checks if 10 is more than 20. It's a matter of sense that no, 10 is not more than 20. It is not greater than 20. So definitely condition doesn't satisfy. It returns a false. It returns a 0 to if. That is why this block doesn't execute. Instead, this block executes, which is the else block. This is the default block. And as soon as the value within a gets 30, then 30 is more than 20. Yes, it's true. So what returns out of the condition is true. It returns 1. That's why this block of code executes and it prints variable a is greater. Okay. So there are times when we have more than one, we have probably 2, 3 and more conditions to check. So if else actually doesn't work alone, so we use else if, which is one more statement we use to check the conditions. We have more than one, more than two. We can have actually any number of else if within our code, and there is no such compulsion in terms of number of else if. It just depends on our requirement. So let's just move further and let's just declare another variable, that is c. Now we have to actually um, compare these three variables. So for that we need to take three conditions actually. So let's check first that if $A is more than $B, and and actually specifies one more condition within the single same if actually. So let's check again if $A is more than $C. So and here actually means that condition only is true if both the conditions, this one and this one, returns true. So that's the basic point. If any of the condition is false, then it probably does not, does not match the condition and it returns false. So let's move further and let's check and use else if to check another condition. So $B is more than $A, and $B is more than $C. If these two conditions satisfy, then obviously variable b is greater, because if there are three variables and $B uh, is greater than both the other two variables, then definitely variable b is greater. But if any of the condition doesn't match, then obviously the condition doesn't satisfy and this block of code never going to execute. So let's just move further and put an else block here, which actually echo the final result, which is variable c is greatest. So here is the final syntax of what we are doing actually. So let's do it and let's check the result on the browser. At this time variable a is greater. Let's check how and why. Variable a has 30, b has 20, c has 10. So in the first condition, $A is more than $B, it means 30 more than 20. It's true. In the same if second condition, $A more than $C, it's also true. both the things are true, that's why it satisfies. And what is and what is echoed is variable a is greater, and what is echoed is variable a is greater. So let's just change the case and make it 15. Well, in this case, variable b is greater. We can see that b is greater. So let's check this condition. A is not more than b. Definitely it returns 0. A is more than c. Yes, it returns 1. But 1 0 1 1 actually, in, with the combination it returns 0. Because 1 1 0 makes the condition go false, so this block of code will not execute. So that's it. I think you must have got the things I'm trying to explain you. Let me again tell you another thing, that else block has no compulsion, and we can comment it right away and check the result if it changes. See, the result is not changing actually. um, so else is never a compulsion, but it's a good practice to use else with the if to um, avoid any false conditions, and to make a default case. So that's the first way in which we execute conditional statements. It's if, else if, and else. So let me just specify the basic syntax here on the screen, so that it would become easy for you to understand. It's if, um, along with the condition uh, with the block of codes, and it's after that it's else if with condition 2 or any number of conditions. Okay, and there might be any number of else if again. So that depends on the requirements, of course. The last thing is else with no condition, obviously, because this is a default block. If not, no condition matches, this is going to be executed. So that's the basic syntax. You can see um, that's all for this tutorial from my side. If you have any queries, please leave the comment below, or you can you can visit our website wingsonedu.com or phpbyfire.com for any of the feedback or query related issues. Thank you very much.